What is going on, my cinema people? Welcome to another episode of Real Insights, where we dive into some Hollywood movies as well as talk a little bit about movies that just came out, which today we're going to be talking about the Marvels. In all honesty, I loved it. I was going into this film expecting something cheesy, not really feeling a part of this Marvel Cinematic Universe. It gave me goosebumps watching these three together. The idea of these three being able to switch powers and all that kind of stuff is actually a really cool little piece of information they put in, especially because all three of these characters are now pretty well known. Of course, they have all those Disney Plus shows and all of that now, which I have not seen all of them, but I'm going to be doing some catching up on that. The best thing I would say about this movie was the idea of bringing back characters who we knew from the very get-go were gonna be in the MCU. Now, when Captain Marvel was originally introduced into this universe, it gave me a really kind of that vibe to it. I hated the first Captain Marvel, did not like it at all. There was a lot of reasons behind not liking it. People in general, when they're making Marvel films, they always come in with good intentions, a goodwill to execute a good MCU film, but these productions have become so big, it almost feels like they're doing too much. Now, I'm not saying this film was too much. I was actually very caught off guard and surprised with this movie. It is one of those movies where you kind of walk into it and you don't expect much from it, and it's kind of like walking into a relationship you already know is going to be toxic. It's one of those movies that you kind of have to give a chance. When you get midway through the movie, it actually builds up a lot of cool suspense and story to it. So us going on this massive space adventure to be able to get to know these characters a little bit more with this dynamic trio, they are absolutely incredible. I had a lot of fun watching them together. Every single time they would continuously go based off of their dialogue, they would just run off of it, and it just flew perfectly. So there was one scene in the film where they actually went to this planet where their language was literally singing, and it was the most hilarious thing I had ever seen in a Marvel movie. In my opinion, it doesn't really fit in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I don't even know if that's even in the comic books. I think it's just made up. But let me know down in the comments below if I'm right or wrong about that. I'm interested to know if that's actually true or not. They're just super weird and overwhelming in some ways. They don't feel natural. They don't feel like they should be in that universe. When Marvel first started, I remember it being super serious. There was a very low, dark tone to it that just felt natural and part of the universe, and it didn't really go back, especially with the Incredible Hulk movie, which I absolutely love. And this dating back to Thor: Love and Thunder, which I absolutely dislike that movie as well. I might do a movie review on it, we shall see. But I know it didn't get the right attention that this movie actually did receive. So after that, at the very end of the film, we get an end credit scene, which, spoilers, if you haven't seen the movie yet or are planning to see the movie, I suggest going and seeing the movie first and then watching this. You've been warned. The idea of crossing over into an X-Men universe is super cool. We have Monica Rambeau, who wakes up in a hospital and she sees her mother right beside her in the other bed. We turn around and we see Beast wearing his glasses and his lab coat, looking down at her, talking to her about where they are, where she came from, asking her all these questions. Her mother wakes up from the bed, and then shortly Monica realizes that her mother isn't actually her mother. She has crossed over into another universe, which is the Fox universe, which we are all excited to be seeing that here on the big screen coming up soon with Deadpool 3, Hugh Jackman, Ryan Reynolds, a fantastic dynamic duo. I cannot wait to talk more about that movie coming up. But giving us a cool introduction to what's to come here, I think this movie definitely deserves a C+. Wasn't my favorite. It definitely hit the beats that we needed inside the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and that is something very rare that honestly I've said ever with Captain Marvel involved. Let's get some theories coming up in here because we have a whole new MCU. And of course, before I forget, we also do have one more end credit scene with Kate Bishop at the very end. She walks inside where she lives and she sees a shadow in the darkness sitting right across from her. It is Kamala Khan, right there doing the same exact thing that Tony Stark did way back in the Incredible Hulk film, where he encounters the general sitting there at a bar drinking, and he says, we're putting a team together. It's the same exact concept. I think it's awesome how they're making a movement towards Secret Wars, which is going to be amazing to see. I cannot wait for that to come out. What did you guys think about the film? Leave your thoughts and comments down below. Subscribe to the channel, turn on those notification bell buttons, because guess what? It helps the channel out a lot. Growing in this community is something I truly want to do, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun to start theorizing with you guys. Again, guys, I am Carson with Real Insights. Take care.